friends, it's Miss Judy. So I'm in the office today. It's Monday, April 12th. And here I am at the American Foundation for the Blind. I know many of you, or all of you actually know that for the last 15 odd years, that's where I've worked either at the National Industries or the American Foundation for the Blind, trying to create a world of inclusion, equity, diversity for people who are blind or visually impaired. And so you can see underneath there, this is how people in my office that I work with know. That's called Braille. That's how they read, and they know that that's my office, because we do have a couple other folks around that share this floor. So, all right, here we are in Crystal City. I'm going to walk you into my office, and I'm going to show you actually how we print the Braille for people to read with their fingers. So come on in. Now, because it's a Monday, of course, there's no school. So this is where Winston sits when he comes into the office. He's my receptionist. And you'll see that our discs for staying socially distanced are a little bit different than tape. And the reason for that is obviously a piece of tape on the floor, somebody who's blind or visually impaired isn't going to be able to know where 6 feet are. So these are actually called peel and stick kits, and they have a different sound to the floor. So when somebody who's blind is walking over it, they know, okay, there's a dot, so next one is 6 feet apart. So I'm going to show you first, and there's Dot. That's her office when she comes to visit me. So this is the room where I braille for my boss, Mr. Kirk. This is a Duxbury embosser. And so that's what a Braille printer looks like. We're just going to use plain white paper today. We're not going to do anything fancy with plastic. So moms and dads, if you're watching, it's like an old dot matrix. It's got to be lined up on the sides with the dots, and it feeds through, and you'll see. All right, so down here is the office. It's my personal office. So AFB, as you can see, is very small. We have 50 employees, but they're scattered around the country, so very few people are actually in Arlington in headquarters. But this is my office. I have a picture of Helen Keller, because she used to work for AFB, and Eleanor Roosevelt, one of my personal heroes. And I promise you, this office used to look a lot more filled up when I was working here full-time instead of a day or two a month. All right, so on my computer, I have my Duxbury already loaded, and I go to open, and then I am going to go to a file that I need to print for Mr. Kirk. Over here it gives me some options. I'm just going to go with American English, and then we're going to open it, and you can see that's looks almost like a regular Word doc. So then we press translate. And translate is what actually puts it into Braille. Then there are 2 options. You can actually go into and you can press print. The problem with print is it's actually going to print the black dots on white paper. And that's no good. It doesn't. We need it to actually be embossed, because embossing is what makes the bumps stick out. So this is the electronic way. And I don't know if you can hear that. I'll go back out. Can you hear that? That's how loud that embosser is. So even though I emboss 5 to 6 documents a week for my boss, I try to stay away from it. It's so noisy. And it feeds through. Should almost be done. It wasn't that big a document. You can see it coming out down here. And it doesn't look like much to you or me, but Mr. Kirk can read that Braille just fine and dandy. And that is how I braille. The other thing that you should know is that, well, this is how I braille electronically because it saves a lot of time. It would take me forever to do this myself by hand. I'll show you that one option later. This was a one-page document in Word, and it feels like it's 6 pages in Braille. 6 page front to back, so 3 actual physical pages. This Braille just takes up that much more space. So there you go. There's step 1 of brailing for our DEI batchwork.